Peace. Today's episode of the Uplifted Being Podcast has been brought to you by the Educated E-Commerce Online Learning Platform, presented to you by serial entrepreneur, author, and podcast host of the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Podcast, Jay Jones. Learn how to build a six-figure e-commerce business in 26 weeks with the Educated E-Commerce course today. Hit the link in the show notes or log on to educatedecommerce.net to sign up and get started now, family. Peace.
Greetings, and welcome to the Uplifted Being Podcast, family. It's time to sync up and be uplifted.
You know that feeling. That feeling, you can't describe it really. It's just like that you feel it. That you feel it. That you feel it. That you feel it.
This is how we do it over here at the Uplifted Being Show.
They say once you find your vibe, you find your tribe. Find your vibe, you find your tribe. Find your vibe, you find your tribe. Find your vibe, you find your tribe.
I have to be it. Rather than I have to have it or I have to do it. It's like I have to be it. I have to become it. I have to be the change that I want to see.
You realize that that's a reflection of you, and what they do, you can also do.
The tangible versus the intangible, and as we know, just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not real.
Find your vibe, you find your tribe.
But you feel it.
We're gonna keep it light.
Peace, family. Welcome to the Uplifted Being Show. You're here with Sister Angela Mills, also known as Melanin, hailing from London in England in the UK. Welcome to another episode of the Uplifted Being Show. Thank you for joining us. I'm thrilled to have you here. We have another fire episode for you today and also a special guest. But I won't let that slip just right now. Before we get into it, if you are here joining us for the very first time, a little bit about what we do. We do, and we are about anything and everything to remind you of the powerful creator that you are. I said it, the powerful creator that you are, that each and every one of us is. And sometimes we just forget. So we're here to remind you. So sit back, kick back, relax, vibe with us, and let me pass over the mic to the next of my wonderful co-hosts. Over there, where are we going to? Over there in the US of A. Whereabouts digitally?
Hailing from New Jersey, family. I'll be your brother Dwayne from Divine Mother, and thank you to my sister, another mister, with a big eyes, rolling big eyes, for the beautiful introduction to the show. As always, welcome to another episode, fire episode of the Uplifted Being Show, family. Yeah, because I am Brother Dwayne from the Divine Mother, because, ooh, she is fine. Them hills and the mountains and them curves and that precipitation, baby, yeah.
Mudslides.
Volcanic eruption. But we are here with a special guest. I won't give it away too soon, but I just want to say that I am thankful to be here, to be honored with his presence once again. He's back, ready to drop them gems, that laughter, that love, that knowledge, baby. You know what I'm talking about. So without further ado, though, I want to pass you off to the completion of the Trinity, to my brother across the imaginary border. And he ain't from the bricks, and there ain't a problem that he can't fix. But you damn right, you better know he from the
6666666. Carbon. Melanin Rich up in this piece, man. What's good, family? It's your brother Brian Neat Aquaboy Doku, also known as Melanin Rich. Happy to be here. The Uplifted Being Show is back up in this piece, and you know, like Sister Angela and Brother Dwayne said, we got a special guest. He was here once before. He was breaking down the science of water, the structure that we need to have healthy, bioavailable water, And now he's back, continuing his light body mission, coming to educate us and break it down. And we're talking about the diamonds in you, family. That's right, the diamonds in you. And we're going to get into it. It's more serious than it sounds, man. You know what I'm saying? With no further ado, let me just give it up to a close friend of mine, very good brother of mine. You know what I'm saying? The scientist. Brother Jeff. Woo. Welcome.
Welcome, brother.
I'm glad to be able to be here and share this information because it's something that I'm always thinking about, and now I can actually share. So, the diamonds in you, as Brother Melanin Rich was saying, the diamonds in you is a light, or the light that reflects the all-pervading light of God. And that's our cells. Each one of our cells is a diamond that emits light and is part of the optimal functioning of the body and the mind. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the diamond cell model. A little background. My name is Jeffrey. You can find me at lightbodywellbeing.com. I'm a holistic nutritionist, more specifically towards how to use nutrition for mental healing, mental relaxation, mental well-being, right? And the reason why it's called light body is because you have the light, which is the spirit, which is God, which is the divine intelligence. You have the body, which houses all that. And when they're both combined, you have well-being, all right? So there's 6 main parts to the diamond cell nutrition model. In today's show, I think I'll just touch on one of them. And if you're interested, you can stay tuned. I guess we can have other shows on that topic. Let's start off with one of the first aspects of healthy cell is actually the skin of the cell. And that's what we call the cell membrane. So the first aspect is going to be the oils that we eat with, the oils that we cook with, the oils that we put on our skin, because the skin of the cell membrane is made of mostly oils, right? We call it phospholipids. So, right. Shall we jump in?
Yeah, let's just breathe real quick first, though. You know, fill these cells up with a little bit of prana.
Hey.
All right, I think we're ready. Hey, get your tapes. Oh, they don't got tapes no more. Man. Get your notepad. You know,
Pen and paper, man.
Yeah. Get ready.
Okay.
Light body,
well-being. Before I jump into the information of oils and fats, I'm just going to lay out to you a quick schematic of the 6 or so needed factors for a healthy cell. All right, so the first one we're going to speak on today is the oils. The second one is a cellular hydration. And that relates to the last time I was here and we spoke about water. So yes, oils, water. The next one deals with the pH, the environmental pH of the cell. And that's where we talk about the whole acid and alkaline discussion. And of course, that branches off into everything from how you digest food, how much you consume, what are you consuming, and how it interacts all in your body. The next factor in the diamond cell model is dealing with more on the aspect of energy. So sound is one of them, and also electricity or voltage, cellular voltage. So how much millivolts is your cell holding? All right, and they all work together. And of course, I can't forget oxygen. How oxygenated, how much oxygen are you getting into the cell? And that also ties in with your carbon dioxide ratio. So for now, let's just focus on the oils, because that is the skin of the cell. And when the skin is strong, when the skin hasn't been punctured or broken into, you won't suffer the infections. So the skin of the cell is the first protection layer. So, all right, let's go in. So when I was growing up and going to high school, they were teaching us about different oils and fats. They were telling us that saturated fat was bad, unsaturated fats were good. They taught us that the cell membrane is made of phospholipids, which is fat. When I progressed into my post-secondary, it was pretty much the same thing. But when I started to do my independent research, I came across people like Mary Anig and also Bruce Fife. And he's the author of The Coconut Oil Miracle and The Palm Oil Miracle. So in those two books, I learned of a story that has a lot to do with corporate interest, a lot to do with misinformation, but on the bright side, a lot to do with healing when using appropriate oils and staying away from inappropriate oils. So to begin this little story, I'll just jump into, first of all, the whole myth that was created around these tropical oils. They've been teaching that coconut oil and palm oil are bad. They've been teaching this ever since the American Soybean Association began their corporate propaganda.
And I'm sharing
corporate takeover,
right?
All for the sake of money and some other stuff. So right now I'm sharing with you some of the things in the Coconut Oil and Palm Oil Miracle book by Bruce Fife. So they basically wanted to take over the market. A lot of products used in America were from coconut and palm oil, which is a big industry because oils are used in all, basically manufacturing of all foods. And they had no money in their pockets in that, because palm and coconut oil are grown in the tropics. So they came up with a propaganda campaign to basically slander these oils. And in that fierce campaign, everyone, doctors, farmers, all believed that these oils are bad. And they made a lot of studies using coconut and palm oil, but the fact is they were using hydrogenated coconut and palm oil. And hydrogenation is a process that basically bubbles in hydrogen into the oil. So they were basically using a tampered form of the original and then blaming that original and associating it with the tampered form. So this is where we stand today. We have a lot of people now coming forth, reading the book, using the coconut oil. That's the only oils I'm using nowadays, coconut and palm oil. And let's just jump into what happens when we eat these oils. All right, so whenever you eat, first let's start off with the oils that they tell us are good, which is the vegetable oils, canola oil, sunflower oil. These oils go rancid quickly. As soon as you buy them from the grocery store, they're already rancid, which means they're spoiled, which means now as soon as you take it in your body's going to have to use a lot of vitamins and a lot of minerals and a lot of antioxidants to neutralize the damage of those oils. Furthermore, the oils, because the cell membrane is made of oils, those oils then get incorporated into the cell membrane, right? And now what should have been your first line of defense, that skin, I like to use the analogy of a balloon. that red balloon now can be punctured easily with a pin. And those pins can represent, your free radicals, your toxins. So that's what happens when we start eating these kind of oil, these unsaturated oils. But we have different grades. We have
even grapeseed oil as well.
Grapeseed oil, as far as I understand, shouldn't be cooked with. Most oils go rancid as soon as they hit the heat. Except for, I would say, avocado, coconut, and palm oil. Yeah.
Was that rapeseed oil or grapeseed? Because it's both, isn't it? Rapeseed oil and grapeseed oil.
Was it grapeseed?
Yeah, I was referring to grape seed with a P as in Papa.
Yeah, I think grapeseed belongs in that category of oils that go rancid as soon as it hits the heat.
And olive oil is the same thing?
For olive oil, it's a little different. When olive oil hits heat, it also goes rancid. And as far as I know, it should be only used cold, in its cold form.
And then when you talk about palm oil, are you talking about, the red palm oil that,
yeah,
we generally have in the motherland? Or I know there's different kinds of palm oil.
That's it. That's it. The red.
Yeah, that red.
The one you used to make your plantain and your beans.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But before Brother Jeff, you go on, I just wanted to pick up on what you were saying in terms of the myth that we were sold or bought into and the truth that you discovered. It just sounds very familiar of lots of other things that we've experienced, whereby, let's just say cultures other than our own, most of the European will, bastardize or, downplay the value, of the things that we have, so that we basically think that they are worthless, and then they take them and they make a whole heap of money off of them.
That's right.
And then us tropical nations, we turn around and start importing fritol and, their vegetable oils and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Thinking that's the good life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the ultimate reversal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I just wanted to pick that up there, because that's what it smacks off. It's very important. But we should let you continue. I want to hear about this.
Please continue.
Well, branching off what Sister Angela just shared, everywhere from India to Polynesia to Africa, all have bought into many of these health myths that has us reducing and stopping the use of our indigenous foods in replacement for these refined and dangerous foods. For instance, in India right now, there's a big problem with diabetes. And in the coconut and palm oil miracle books, the author Bruce Fife shares that they noticed that as they stopped using their traditional oils, one of them is called ghee. The main one is called ghee, which is basically butter that's been clarified, or butter that's been heated so that the milk solids have been evaporate. When they stopped using ghee, which is actually a very healthy oil, and butter is also very healthy, and started to use these vegetable oils, the diabetes rates increase. So here we go again. Diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all these conditions and other conditions start to pop up because we're dealing with the fundamental aspect of a cell, which is the skin of the cell, right? So shall we continue the little story?
Please do.
Please do.
All right. So when these oils are eaten, so let's stay on the topic of the vegetable oils. When these vegetable oils are eaten, the cell then uses these rancid oils as the components that make up the skin, right? So now, because the skin is very thin or very weak because of these rancid oils, they're easily inflamed. A toxin can come and put a hole in the balloon, or put a hole in the skin of the cell. And then other things like your vitamin E, which main purpose is to prevent and combat oxidation or damage to the cell. Now that vitamin E has to be used up. And now other things need to be used up to clarify that problem. So now what happens when we put in, we eat palm oil and coconut oil? They're both a little different in terms of how they're digested. With coconut oil, as soon as we eat it, it doesn't use as much enzymes and digestive enzymes to digest. It mainly goes into the liver and is used as a carbohydrate, metabolized as a carbohydrate. Coconut oil is very good for killing off bacteria, viruses, parasites in the gut, in the colon. Very good for babies. The main part of mother's milk is a component that's found in coconut oil. And a lot of other things. The coconut oil book really goes into it. Now with the palm oil uses more enzymes to break down. The palm oil, what they found is that the profile of the palm oil is actually very similar to the profile of our cells. So every oil has a certain percentage of saturated fat, unsaturated fat, and so on. So with the palm oil, when we eat it and our cell starts to use it as the skin, the palm oil already comes with so much antioxidant and because it doesn't go rancid when you heat it up, it actually is shown to protect the cell, right? And in some of the studies and some of the cases they found with different diseases, for instance, with diabetes, they found that the more you use unsaturated fats, like your canola oils and your sunflower oils and your vegetable oils, the more insulin resistant you become, which means that insulin can't attach itself on the cell membrane and open up the gate and allow that glucose, that sugar to enter your cell.